Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Dota Show, episode 3. I am Luminous, your host for today, and I am speaking way too fast because I'm a little bit nervous. Need to slow down. I don't know why I'm nervous, but I kind of am. Usually, like on Sunday, I was like, yeah, let's go. But I'm like, it's like that time when you held a girl's hand for the first time. Well, actually, I don't even remember when that was happening. It was like 5 or when I was 7. I don't even know what nervous is, so. But don't worry, you ever had a stage fright? Or maybe you can't give a public speech? Well, Logan's got your back. Sweet, soothing nectar that is also very healthy for you. So I'm gonna crack this open. Anyways, the Dota Show every Sunday to Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. If you missed yesterday's, it's going to be on LD Dota's YouTube channel as well as his Twitch TV channel. He talked about the basics of Dota, picking heroes, knowing heroes' role. Very good to watch if you're a newbie. And then tomorrow, also on his channel, it's going to be a Windrunner thing. So it's called Getting That Ass, Larry. And he's going to be going through Windrunner play. I think it's going to be a solo mid Windrunner. So it's going to be pretty saucy. But for now. Alright, today we're going to be talking about warding. And you guys know what warding is. It's like, oh, you put out a ward, you see them, and they don't see you. Yeah, no, it's actually a little bit more complex than that. So there's going to be 4 topics that we're going to be talking about today regarding warding. Number 1, we're going to talk about lane warding, which unfortunately I feel like most educational content videos don't talk about enough. You got your warding guides, you got your commentaries, you got some people writing articles, but I feel like they never actually talk about lane warding. They talk about, yeah, you ward here for the Roshan, here's where you block the jungle for the magic bush, and that's all good and all, but to be honest, if you're watching pro games, lane wards is actually like the most common occurrence, or one of the most common occurrence, and that's something I feel like we need to discuss a little bit more. The second topic I want to talk about here today, I have to look at my cheat sheet, is how supports are really, really poor. Before the show started, I was looking at chat and some people saying, well, warding's for scrubs, right? That, you know, it's such a hard job. You have no level, you have no gold, and you constantly have to keep getting ward, and you're getting killed. We're going to talk about how poor support's going to be trying their way to get to wards, which is going to be very, very important. And the third point that we're going to be talking about, we're going to talk about why sentry ward is very important. Counter warding is another thing that I feel like most educational content don't talk about. Again, they tell you where to place the wards, but then they actually don't go to the next step. It's like, why is counter warding very important? Why is counter warding completely worth it in terms of gold investment, and why you should always counter ward? Well, we're going to talk about sentry wards today. And the last thing is, yes, the value of sight. And I mean, that sounds like duh, sight is always valuable, but you'll see why exactly it's valuable. So we're going to be jumping into our first game today, which is not here. We are only 5 minutes into the show. I think 2 minutes into the show. It's okay. It's okay. It's going to get better. Don't worry. Here you go. You can see my radiant face. I'm not sponsored by Logo, by the way, but if anybody that works for this wants to sponsor us, I mean, I'm already like freaking okay. Dota 2, please don't crash. Come on. Por favor. Okay. Off to a great start. Off to a great start. This is where Luminous will sing for you. Any case, the first replay we're going to be looking at is TTB. No, it's not TTB. The first replay we're going to be looking at is Roots versus Bottom. 2 American teams going at it. So I want to give a quick shout out to Blitz who sent me the replay. And I was actually in game watching that game in their Skype chat as well. And it was really cool because I actually got to see some of their struggles, and which is very important, and we'll be talking about that in a bit. So Roots versus TDB, going to be fired online right now. So yes, the first point that we're going to talk about is lane warding, and I want to stress on Electric Shock, who is going to be our hero today. He's going to be playing the Shadow Shaman, and we're going to see how crazy he goes on warding. There's very little occasion that we see over warding. If you even, there's a term for that, but he's getting close on what we call overwarding, which is warding like whenever he can. This guy, when he gets gold, he's warding, and that's really cool. Not enough actually support players do that. and we're going to see that. So there's a first blood. Of course, this is a luminous thing, so we're going to miss that. Actually, we don't even care about the first blood in this case. We're going to actually scroll ahead just a little bit more, like right about now. So if you actually look at the tri-lane composition on top, we have a Syllabear, we have a Rasta or Shadow Shaman, and then we have Enchantress in the jungle. It is a solo Beastmaster played by DDX, so he's going to have a little bit of hard time to actually deal with this. We are going to go to Perspective View on Electric Shock. As I say that, we're going to go back to free camera. We're going to look at what is on the courier. A couple of boots. We're going to scroll a little bit further in. Electric Shock is going to be getting a very, very, very quick pair of Observe Wards. So quick. Here we go. We are 4 minutes in the game, and he's getting his first pair of Observe Wards, and you'll see how he will be using it. So this is a very, very standard game that most supports and of course jungler do. Sometimes you actually pop your Smoke of the Sea and you go in. Other times you don't. And you can see that DDX, normally you see a lot of pro players just die right there. And not only will they die, they will also lose the tower. But we don't really care about towers today. We care about wards. And we're going to basically see this Radiant squad, or excuse me, the Dire squad, just mow down on this tower. And Electric Shock quickly checks out on the mid lane, because one of the most dangerous things when you're doing this kind of push is when Queen of Pain comes and backstab the hell out of you. And not only will that, stop your push, you're probably going to lose a couple hero in return as well. So we're going to see Electric Shock quickly is going to be dropping a pair of wards, if I could see him right now. Electric Shock, can I click on you? There you go. That's a pure Observer Ward being dropped. Let's actually look at the cost and benefit of that Observer Ward. 100 gold down the drain also means you're not getting ganked, so you're not gonna lose 1 or 2 heroes. That also means you could safely push down this tier 2 tower. So we're looking in gold swing of 500, 600, 700 gold, depending how you want to do the math. And that's a 100 gold investment that you just put down for 500, 600, 700 gold. Completely worth it. Now you're gonna see, hey, we're gonna keep going and we're gonna keep placing wards as we go. Electric Shock is gonna place a very, very early ward right next to tier 2 tower. Come on, keep pushing. I know you're gonna keep pushing. Okay, they're gonna keep pushing right now, and they realize, well, we can't really actually go right into the freaking base right now, so we're gonna put down this ward as well. And this is exactly what I mean about lane warding. You might be thinking to yourself, what the hell is that second ward doing? Like, what does it actually accomplish? Well, let me tell you, it doesn't actually accomplish too much in the sense of, hey, we're pushing this tier 2 tower, we're gonna have perfect sight. Generally, that's what it's for. But let's look at the value of this ward and what it gives you. First of all, Beastmaster is going to be slowly pushing up front. Whoever is going to be farming right here is going to constantly give away their vision to the ward, which is very important for, I'm going to point out why it's very, very important, but pro players always, they actually click on, whenever they see an enemy hero on the map, they click. It's like, oh, what item does he have? Very important in terms of checking, inventory and whatnot. You might be saying, well, doesn't the creep wave already do that? Like, my creeps will see that Beastmaster anyways. So why is it necessary to even have those wards? Well, actually, let's, think a little bit further ahead. What if the creep wave's over here, right? The creep wave's over here, and Syllabear is kind of rising in front of his tower. And guess what? If they want to gank that Syllabear, where the hell are they going to come from? Well, they're going to take this path. Sometimes they even actually go up to this hill and smoke right here. This is what it's for. One of the benefit of lane ward it gives you, not only does it help you push down a tower, as well as protect you from backstab ganks, it also is a defensive ward in nature, and we're going to see that so often in pro games. We're going to see a lot of times we see lane wards being dropped down right here by the Radiant team. You'd be thinking, man, this is really deep in the enemy territory. Isn't that offensive ward? Nah, man, this is defensive warding for your support or for your carry hero that is farming here. Same thing, exact same thing. And the benefit you got here is earlier when you're pushing, well, you got a little bit more safety, and now your push is done, you get a little bit more utility out of that lane ward. And we see utility out lane ward all the freaking time. Sometimes you see him in, yep, somewhat of a lane ward you see across the mid lane. You see a lot of Dire team putting lane wards here. And we see it so often. So sometimes, at the beginning of the game we see it here, mid games I talked about here. So we're going to be seeing quite a bit of lane wards as this game progresses. Alright, so we're going to go back to our Electric Shock hero and see what he has been doing, right? He's been getting Sentry Ward. I think he started out with a Sentry Ward, and he's going to be setting up a whole bunch of ganks. But unfortunately, Electric Shock, he's going to be dying a couple of times, so that's a little bit too fast. Let's go into player perspective. Oh, Electric Shock is trying to run, getting chased by 4 heroes. And this is a common occurrence, right? If you're playing support, you are going to die a couple of times. It's very, very unfortunate. Ooh, 6 Sunstrike by Fogged. He was obviously not Fogged. Guess what? He's going to be back, and he's going to be getting Sentry Wards. Okay, just for a little bit of record, he got the first pair of wards before the game started. So that's at 0-minute mark. He got the ward at the 4-minute mark, right? So of course, if you know, wards cool down every 6 minutes. He could be already getting his next pair of wards, and he will be doing so. He's got his boots, and he's... What the hell is that? Are they gonna get the kill? Okay. Well, I think they got the kill. Yeah, the Urn gets... What was that? Okay, anyways, that has nothing to do with this. We're gonna be looking at warding. Again, more lane ward being dropped. So very vital into protecting your heroes. Actually, I want to talk about a little bit more about mid lane warding. Ooh, mid lane gets countered. Alright, mid lane warding is so important against a couple of heroes. First hero that you really want a mid lane ward against is Night Stalker. Because Night Stalker is already a very dominating hero. He is going to be... All he needs is one teleport scroll from his teammate, and suddenly you're dealing with Fear, you're dealing with Void, and whatever else that his teammate's going to be coming in. Another hero that you want a mid lane ward against is the Invoker, because a cold snap plus anything in the game will just basically kind of render you useless or kill you. And of course, you have things like Tornado and all that stuff to follow up. So you can see that Radiant is trying to put down lane wards. Make sure they do see Fogged, because this cold snap is so very dangerous. And Electric Shock, our hero, getting ready to counter. So we're going to be looking mostly... We're going to be following Electric Shock. It's going to be teleporting on the bottom, setting up a couple ganks. This is not really what we want to see. We want to see how he actually is going to progress in this game. You see that kill that we just kind of quickly flashed by? This is because of the ward that... Let me change the camera a little bit. That kill that we just got, that you just quickly saw, it was Queen of Pain walking in there like that. And this is what this lane ward gives you as well. So lane wards, even though it doesn't do too much in terms of shutting down ganks, it still gives you a little bit more sight. And that's going to be very, very important. But let's skip ahead a little bit here. And we're going to look at Electric Shock. I don't know, arbitrarily 15 minutes in the game, right? 15 minutes in the game. He has rebot wards, he has placed more wards, he has been counter warding, all that jazz. He's got one over here earlier if you were paying attention. I want you to look at score right now. He's 0, 2, and 3. He's got 17 creep kills. How many towers do they have? 1, 2, 3. They got 3 towers, 2 death, 3 assists, 17 creep kills. And I'm going to pause here and ask you, and I'm going to tell you that if you're playing, if some random general pub playing a roster, if you have 0, 2, and 3, and 17 creep kills and 3 towers, I can guarantee you, I will bet money on it, that he would not be getting as many wards as Shadow Shaman being played by Electric Shock. How's that even happen? 2 players have the exact same amount of death, exact same amount of assists, exact same amount of tower kills. How do one player actually have more gold than the other player? And this is what a lot of pro players do, and a lot of support players in the pub level should learn to do. You buy before you die. A lot of times, I didn't really show it here, but Shadow Shaman's been dying a couple of times, right? He's got 2 death. Every time you die, please put a quick buy thing right here. You could drag open your menu, quick buy. And it's so important to buy before you die, because you're going to be losing gold anyways, right? Instead of losing like 300 gold, you could just buy. Let's imagine Electric Shock's gonna die right now. He's got 500 gold. If he has Couple of Haves on quick buy, he could buy it, and he doesn't actually have to lose any type of gold. And that's a big distinction, and a lot of pro support actually do this, and not enough, I guess, newbie support do this. Pro supports, they do die. It's not like they're invincible and they don't die, but when they do die, they get the best out of it. They buy their Sentry wards, they buy their Observe wards, they buy their Glove of Haste. So next time, if for whatever reason you're playing support in a pub game, after every death, I want you to look at your gold and ask yourself, can I have bought something from that? Oh man, I got 150 left. Well, before I died, I might have had 200, so I could have bought an Observer Ward. Or man, now I have 400 gold. I probably could bought a boot to speed. You could see where this is going. If you actually spend your gold and not throw it away to the death penalty or whatever you call it, then you will actually squeeze out that 1 extra pair of wards. And that quote-unquote poor support could still ward even with whole bunch of death. You can spam, I see people, yeah, Holy One says, I usually just spam by TP scroll. That's a good one too, especially if you carry. Sometimes you only have 200 gold and you know you're going to be dying. Well, buy a TP scroll. Like, all players could benefit from this, but especially support, because you're constantly sitting at low gold. Have those Observer wards ready on your quick buy. Have that magic stick. Heck, even a Clarity or even a Circlet, whatever you need to buy it. And this is a segment where we kind of go into even pubbier example. All right, I want you to imagine in the following scenario, right? You're playing a pub game. Your team is 1 and 15, okay? You have like Anti-Mage, Juggernaut, Potom, or Priestess of the Moon, and then you have Witch Doctor CM, right? Your Witch Doctor and CM is combined for 0 and 7. They got nothing. The two of them combined have like 3 GG branches. Obviously, they have no gold, they have boots, and they're basically waiting for gold to buy that damn pair of wards because... Why the hell am I like... Because they need ward, because, you know, there's a Night Stalker Pudge ganking the hell out of them. And you're playing the Anti-Mage. I want to give you a proposition. You could actually buy a pair of wards. Alright, look, I know that was really shocking, but let me say that one more time. You could actually buy a pair of wards. Let's do the math here. A pair of wards costs 200 gold. An average creep wave with 5 creeps, and creeps give you around 40 gold each. That's kind of like 200. You should be lasting every single creep anyway. So if you last hit that creep wave, that's 200 gold. You buy that pair of wards, you ask your CM, hey, you know, I got you a pair of wards, go place it please, because we pretty much need damn wards. That's 30 seconds of farm that you lost, and you're gaining your team 6 minutes of protection. Yeah, 30 seconds for 6 minutes, okay. Now, on the other scenario, you put your 200 gold in your bank and you keep farming, and your Crystal Maiden literally just sits there. Because, well, she can't farm your creep because you're not going to let her. She can't actually pull because that messed up your creep equilibrium. She can't jungle by herself because she's a damn CM. So she literally sits there and wait like, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes for that 200 gold. We're in that 2 or 3 minutes. Someone on the team is probably dying to that Pudge and Night Stalker enemy team. We're in that 2 and 3 minutes. She can't actually buy TP and help the other lanes because she's saving for wards. In that 2 or 3 minutes, she's actually just sitting there doing nothing. That's the trade-off. Yes, even support or even carries could buy a pair of wards if your supports are having that tough a game. Please do it. The moral of the story here is just do it. And yes, if Nike, if you want to sponsor us, that's good too. No, seriously, if your supports are having a really tough time, it's 30 seconds of farm throwaway. And I bet you guys, right, after this you know, warding tutorial or whatever you want to call this, you and your 2 friends, you're going to jump into a pub game and you're like, yeah, you know what? I learned this concept. It's 30 seconds of sacrifice, but I protect my team for 6 minutes. All right, that's good. We're going to do that from now on, right? Yeah. And then you and your 2 friends, right? So you pick the Anti-Mage, your friend picks the Juggernaut, and your other friend picks the Mirana. So that situation occurs. You're 1 and 15. Your CM Juggernaut, or your CM and Witch Doctor combines for 0 and 7. And you're looking at yourself, I'm 200 gold away from Battle Fairy. I'm the hardest carry. I'm not going to buy 200 gold for the ward. Juggernaut, you do it. And the Juggernaut's like, well, I mean, I got phase. I'm kind of getting my tower push. I need my TP. I need my bottle, dude. I mean, I'll get it next time. Mirana, can you do it? And Mirana's like, I'm going Yasha. 200 gold to Yasha. And that's, yeah, everybody knows they should be doing it, but no one else do it because they're like, oh man, someone else is going to do it. And I think that kind of mentality is the issue with Dota in the first place, where everybody's like, oh man, I know that's the correct thing to do, but you do it. Moral of the story, just get the damn ward. You can see I'm pretty bitter about it because I'm always at CM. And I'll be like, dude, we really need a ward, please. Like, I don't want to die. I'll actually go place a ward. Like, just buy it for me. And I always get those AM players where they look at me and be like, are you funny? Are you high? I'm the carry. You buy the ward. So the moral of the story is, just get the damn ward, please. This is a public message. Alright, so we're going to be scrolling through this game. And of course, we're going to see more pushes being done. Now, later on in the game, we're going to see a push on the bot tower. In fact, I think we're going to see it very, very soon. And we're going to see the same thing. Lane wards up the wazoo. A lot of lane wards. Alright, we see a counter ward being done here. The Rasa's pushing in, making sure they get the gank. Boosh, lane ward being dropped. And actually, I want to go to Dire Vision right now. This lane ward suck. Like, it sucks. It doesn't see anybody TPing right here. Sometimes, the legit place that you want to drop it here. But that's okay. That's fine. It's still a ward nonetheless. It gives you sight on the 3 heroes that we saw. And immediately, the gank party of Dire just walks in. They waltz in. They have a TIE Hunter in front. And then they're going to just take down this tower. Again, with the tower being down, the next time there's a Radiant hero farming here, well, you see their items. And then, you Same old tale, same old tale. And you see Electric Shock do this so often, so often. And you might be thinking to yourself, isn't that a very heavy investment? If you think about it, if you secure yourself a tower, that is like 200 gold for your entire team, or 1,000 gold to your entire team. And you only have to give up 100 gold to get that, and get that very safely. So, I mean, sometimes you could drop the wards and you lose a team fight, and that would be really bad. But most of the time, you drop the ward, you have perfect sight, and you're gonna get towers, and it's gonna be real good. So it's gonna be one more clip in this. We went past this. We went past this. Did we go past this? Yeah. We're gonna be there very soon. So we're gonna be seeing more wards being dropped in the jungle. And again, if you want to take one thing away from this replay, take away how Electric Shock is warding very aggressively. They're trying to set up a gank on Queen of Pain, she TP out. But again, setting wards up here. And again, we're gonna see on the on the dire vision and see how much they see. They pushing, and suddenly they see here right here. Guess what? That's what this ward gives you. And they immediately go upwards, and that's when the team fight starts. The value of sight. E from Korea, nice split on everybody, but guess what? Cold Snap plus Radiance, kind of a crazy thing. And then we're gonna have our Snake King walk in, boosh, with a big Ravage. Now I'm not gonna say that this ward have won them the team fight and thus won them the game, but it really helps. A little bit of gold investment, just have your wards down everywhere, and you're gonna have good games. And we're gonna be talking about a very common occurrence where the team that's ahead will get even more and more ahead as we're going on and on with the game. So that's going to do it for our first replay. And we're going to go into our second replay right about now. Unfortunately, it'll take me a little bit of time to load these replays because Valve. I mean, the cool thing I really want to stress out that we didn't really see from this replay, but I want you guys to take home from it, is you want to buy before you die. Actually, that sounds pretty good, right? Confucius say, buy before die, supporting like a fly guy. Boosh! Copyrighted LuminousInverse, man. Don't even try to steal that one. Man, you should whenever the next time you go in a bar, and there's that attractive lady on the other side, and you guys are getting this chemistry going on, and she asks you, tell me a little bit about yourself. You go up there with your deep, sexy voice. Well, I really like to read, and I watch Game of Thrones sometimes, but most of all, I buy before I die. Supporting like a fly guy. And I bet you that lady swooned, melting. That's right, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific, Twitch TV/LuminousInverse, where I teach you pro Dota stuff and how to pick up chicks. Why is this replay not loading? Alright, this replay, I think we're good to go. This next replay is going to be coming from MTW versus NextKZ from the defense. If it will ever load. Yep, it's going to be loading right now, so that means we're going to be jumping in for this replay. NextKZ on the dire, and they have a Wisp. If you don't have a defense pass, consider buying it yourself, because you're going to miss a lot of really good games. Alright, so I'm going to jump into this replay, and we're going to talk about the importance of lane warding again, right? Notice how NextKZ don't have a pair of wards, and they're like, okay, we see freaking Venomancer in the mid lane. He's got, what, 800 HP? It's Venomancer. We see what Milk has done on that hero. We got CM, we got Ursa, we got Wisp. Free kill, baby! Free kill! And let me tell you that there are people waiting on the other side. And when there are people waiting up the side and you walk up the hill like that, it won't be pretty. It won't be pretty. Ursa loses his Aegis. There's going to be a roar, a black hole. It's already a 2-for-1. Already a 2-for-1 team fight happens. You're like, oh man, I'm going to get a couple kills. Alright, 2-for-2. And then we're still chasing, man. We got the Ursa, we got these guys, but man, MTW, they're so good defensively. They're gonna TP a nice scale hitting right now, and those blue balls on Venom, but she's got this. He's running away. Ursa even can't chase despite having phase boots, because Venom, man, that snake, he's got that Hydralisk upgrade. He'd be running. Alright, Spoiler alert, he is going to survive. Unfortunately, his Juggernaut friend is going to try to run, and the first hit proc gets picked off. So why am I casting this? What I'm trying to point out is, which by the way, CM just dropped this ward here after they needed it badly. Without having lane wards, you are running uphill blind, and that's probably one of the worst things that you could ever do in a pro game situation. They could have TP in, they did TP in, and you can see how horrible that was. They ate a black hole, they ate a Venomancer ult, because they don't have uphill vision. Lane warding, one of the most important thing there is for competitive Dota, and you see it so often. Guess what this is? This is called a lane ward. This is called lane ward. Now, there's one phenomenon I want to talk to you about. Dota is one of those games that it really favors a team that is ahead. So think about the following situation. You are killing people. Yeah, I'm sure all of us have done that in in the game, not killing people in real life. You are killing people, and you get more EXP, correct? You get more gold, correct? You get better item. They get less item. And 2 minutes later, you kill them again. You use that item advantage, you use that gold advantage, and you keep killing them. Same thing with towers. Hey, I push down a couple of towers, we get more map control, we use the gold that the tower gives up to buy more items, and then we're gonna push down more towers. You see where this is going? Yeah? One more example. You win a team fight. So we're gonna go into the Roche pit, and then we're gonna get the Aegis to win ourselves even another team fight. So what this I'm trying to show you about Dota is, there's a lot of things in the game where if you do something correct, you can build upon having that advantage and keep doing that correct thing. So it applies to warding as well. Guess what? He's been checking on effing Mad's inventory all day long. All day long. Lucky's got his eye on that Enigma. And he's like, dude, he's only got one ward. That means he just placed them. Because he saw them earlier on the other side of the ramp and be like, well, yep, I think Enigma just placed a ward. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you have sight and you see them place wards, you be countering the hell out of them. And of course, when you have wards and when they don't have wards, it's no good. So if you look at next KZ Lucky right now here, he's looking for that ward. He's like, I know something's here, and he has, yep, you know what he's doing right now? He's putting that sentry ward down. And let me tell you, as a support player, when you counter a ward, it is the best feeling in the world. Oh, not done yet. We're seeing Kebab. We're checking his inventory. He's got wards. And he's probably placing wards. Oh, he just placed them. Now he has no wards inventory. It is like walking out of a steamy shower and have that cool air against your skin. That's how it feels to counter a ward. You never know that feeling? Go discover that feeling. Just play wards. Just play support and counter the hell out of everybody. It feels so good. Alright, okay, one thing I want to talk about this ward here that you actually don't see a lot of players put. A lot of players like, oh, let's ward Roshan, let's ward here. I don't know why I'm not drawing. But you see a lot more player ward here instead of here, right? This is a reason. If you put a ward here, you're still going to see Roche, and that's all good. But it's very easily counterable. And the counterable ward is generally placed here. So imagine this ward's here. You can easily counter it here. And this is probably the best spot. And he's going to counter. Yep. This is the best spot you want to put your sentry ward, because it not only counters this spot, it counters this spot, and also it counters this spot. So right now Kebab, he's trying to do some anti-juking. He put it a little bit further to the right, and generally means his ward is not going to get countered. But unfortunately, he got seen. And Lucky, man, feeling good because he's counter warding like a mad pro. Okay, so you might be saying, all right, so yeah, I know, like sentry wards are good. Like, why do I need to watch a quote-unquote pro warding tutorial to tell me that sentry ward is good? Isn't it always good? And that's correct, but really be careful of over-centering. This is one of the fatal mistakes I see a lot of beginning ward do. They're like, alright, I got some gold, let's go counter. And they just spam click sentry like 4 times. That's 800 gold down the drain. You know, calm down, bro. You're a support. You gotta conserve your gold. And generally, the moral of this story is that generally, safe counters is when you see them place it. And that's why you want to keep up wards all the time. Oh man, Kebab, or not Kebab. Lucky's been buying more wards. Yep, he's going to have 2 more pair of ward coming to him. Look at the vision that they're getting right now. Free camera. Look at the vision they're getting right now. Boosh, boosh. Freaking across the river. And that means any place they're putting down wards are always in danger. Man, this one just barely ninja through. Man, if Lucky had a ward here, ugh, I mean, this ward's lifespan, it's frightening. This ward is like literally shivering. Because whenever if you're in an advantaged position, if you have a whole bunch of wards down, the other team support, man, good luck to them, because they're never gonna get a ward down. You're gonna counter the hell out of them. This is a very, very lucky example. Again, guess what? A very premature sentry ward down on the ground. You might be thinking, what the hell is this for? Why the hell are you countering so deep in jungle? Remember what we said about lane wards in the previous replay? Yeah, that's exactly what's for. And 5 minutes later, we're going to see this ward getting countered. I think 5 minutes later, 5-6 minutes later. But again, one of the most important thing about sentry warding is you don't want to overdo it. Because, again, you're playing Crystal Maiden. You're freaking poor. You still need your treads. Doesn't even have Magic Wand or a TP score yet. You don't want to overdo on the sentry warding. But if you actually see it, it's so worth it. Let's actually look at the mathematical value, right? Alright, real fast. Alright, whoops, this is good. Let's look at the mathematical value. You might be thinking, well, he's actually spending 100 gold for that pair or one observer ward. You're spending 100 gold for that sentry ward. Like, isn't it trading 100 for 100? I'm not actually doing any economical damage, right? Oh, StarCraft 2 reference. I mean, yeah, technically you're not doing quote-unquote economical damage, but let's look at the following. First of all, observer wards have cooldown, sentry wards does not. So anytime that you're countering their observer wards, they're getting closer and closer running out wards in general. Second of all, when you counter their wards, they still have to make this long trek into this very dangerous area to place that ward, thus by having more risk. Thirdly, when you're counting wards, remember the sentry ward was here, they can't even ward in this spot anymore. They have to ward in a different spot, thus making your next counter a lot easier to predict and a lot easier to actually pull off, a lot safer of a counter. So even though you're trading 1 for 1, anytime that you get a sentry ward counter off, you are winning. You are Charlie Sheening it up. So go out there, make sure you have wards down, and countering the hell out of them. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and I think we're actually doing very good on time. I thought I was going a little bit too slow. We're perfect. Is Roshan and the value of having sight. And again, that's a lot of things I've said today. If I actually look back to it and just read it on text, oh, the value of wards, the value of sight, isn't that like no duh? Of course, sight is always nice. I want you to think of that scenario, right? Let's actually talk about Smoke of the Seat. What makes Smoke of the Seat really, really good? I don't even know why I'm watching this game, because this game is not important right now. What makes Smoke of the Seat very, very good? Any guesses? It's smoke. It's gonna smoke some weed. That is one thing that Smoke of the Seat. That is one thing that Smoke of the Seat is really, really good for. Smoke of the Seat and many other items in the game like Shadow Blade or a Blink Dagger and all that stuff give you a element of surprise, right? If you have a successful smoke gank, you're gonna end up right next to enemy hero and you're gonna be, you know, throwing a whole bunch of spell at them and you kill them. Yeah. When is smoke not really good? Smoke's not really good when they see it coming. You know, it's like one of those 55, 60 minute game and suddenly everybody's missing off the map. And you just kind of think to yourself, well, we got creeps pushing at their base. They're not defending it and they're all missing. Yeah, they're probably smoke ganking you. And that's when smoke is not that good. The element of surprise and the lack of element of surprise. And how does that tie into warding? Well, that ties into warding because it's all regarding your sight, right? If you see them and they don't see you, suddenly you have the element of surprise and they don't. Now, we're going to actually look in this Roshan clip right here. And let me tell you, MTW sees it. They know that the Dire is going to be Roshing. Like, they know. They freaking see people here with wards coming in. But quickly, we're going to see Crystal Maiden eventually we'll be countering, right? She's a ward there, gonna really, again, I feel good. Counter warding up, which really is one of the 7 joys of life. Countering a ward, go do it. Tonight after this, just go counter a couple wards. Alright, so MTW knows, they know that next KC is going to Roche Pit. And they might even have some sight here because these Serpent Wards are freaking OP, right? That's why, by the way, that's why Venomancer a lot of times is picked very highly. But they can't go in because they know next case they see them, and MTW see very little of next KZ. Does MTW have that moment, like element of surprise dropping down a rock? And of course they could take down the Roshan, they could take down the Aegis. Difference of having sight and having no sight, the element of surprise and the lack of element of surprise. And we're gonna see freaking next KZ just go all over freaking MTW. MTW, I think Matt's gonna die here, or excuse me, Synderen's gonna die here because Crystal Maiden's gonna come in. And that's the difference of having ward and the other team not having wards. We're gonna look at actually in another more Roshan fight. Let's look in another one. Valve, I thank you. Now we have some OP fast forwarding. Is a Roche back? Is a Roche back? Roche is going to be back soon. Where's back soon? So we're gonna look at. Alright. We're gonna look at Dire Vision.
Regeneration.
We're gonna look at Dire Vision. Alright, Dire Vision. But you can still see the Radiant, right? Alright, I'm gonna count. 100 gold, 200 gold, 300 gold, 400 gold. Spoiler alert, he's gonna drop 2 more wards. Real fast, the reason that he's putting down so many Sentry Ward is A, he's counter warding, and B, there's a Shadow Blade on the Juggernaut. So he's being prepared, right? Kebab, the pro support he is, has fully identified that he's dealing with the invisible heroes. But use F1 and use F2. Thanks. Sometimes it doesn't work. Like I'm pressing F2 right now and it's not working. Yeah, it's bugged at times. So right now we see Kebab drops down 1, 2, 3, 4. He's gonna drop 2 more. So he's dropping 6 wards. That's 600 investment for a Roshan. But look at what Dire see, right? We are in Dire Vision right now. They see Jack Squad. And right now MTW, with the moment, or the element of surprise, gets off a swap. And suddenly Juggernaut walks in, gets seen by Sentry Ward. And suddenly Crystal Maiden, a little bit slow, turning her angle around, gets first hit proc. She gets picked off. Ugh, ugly. MTW Kebab. It's like, yeah, we got ourselves a little more advantage. Drops even more wards. And we're going to see another Sentry Ward being dropped later on. This is what having wards does for your team, where you get all these, another ward being dropped down here. And Equal thinks he's mad boss because he's got Slothars. But bam, here comes a Sentry Ward because they see you everywhere. Juggernaut pops off his ultimate. Unfortunately, Juggernaut will be dying. Mantis has already died. Juggernaut's going to get picked off right here. Healing Wards gets picked off by Funzy. Very nicely done. The endless amount of Sentry Wards, the endless amount of Observer Wards, they see it everywhere. MTW with the element of surprise, with the pick off, and next KZ with nothing. Had to charge into Roche Pit. Of course, Ursa blinked in as well, but he was effed because you remember Crystal Maiden. Yeah, Crystal Maiden died. Wisp died in the beginning, and MTW gets the Aegis and Cheese, and you can see how the team fights really swing. Whoever has more wards generally have a very, very good advantage walking into these Roshan fights. Okay, so that is actually gonna do it for the I suppose the educational segments of today's show. So a couple things we talked about. First thing we talked about is lane wards. We saw how important it was in game number 2 when we didn't have that middle lane ward. Yeah, that was really rough. And of course we talked about how the silent wards are very important, not only for pushing down towers. Also, you could have those lane wards later on in the game to protect your carries from ganks, which is always very good. Secondly, we talked about how poor supports, poor supports sometimes need your help. They need your help to actually buy those wards. And I'm not telling you, yeah, man, I'm anti-mage, I'm gonna be freaking throwing a donation of wards. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm saying if your team is getting rocked and your supports have no go because your team's getting rocked, don't get in that downward spiral. You know, when you're playing well, when you get towers, you put down more wards, you're countering their wards. That is a good upward spiral. But when you're poor and you're getting ganked and you're getting your wards countered by the other team, that is a downward spiral. And as a carry, you can pull your team out of it. You're sacrificing 30 seconds of farm to give your team 6-minute protection. Think about that for a second. Third thing we talked about is sentry warding, how important it is to actually keep counter warding. And we went into the math a little bit, and I don't want to do the math again. But also the element of surprise and the lack of element of surprise. When you have wards up and they don't, everything's gravy. So that's going to do it here. If you have any questions, put it here. We're going to actually have 3-4 minutes of question time. And in the meantime, if you're ever having a stage fright, if you're too afraid to confess to her, it's pretty healthy for you too. Which, by the way, I might be joking about this. Anyone would like to sponsor the Dota show? Talk to me. I'm not even kidding. If we don't have any relevant questions about warding, on the subject of sentry wards, how should supports place them while dealing with invisible heroes? Invisible heroes on the lane, and this is asked by Kezenlo. This is actually one of the times you actually want your carry to buy the wards. A lot of times I see, like, a lot of times in a lot of really high level games, whether it's going to be your Navi game or your Chinese game, whatever game that you might be, in the very, very high level games, when, let's say, a Dragon Knight and Crystal Maiden walk in a lane, they see a Brood. And Dragon Knight is going to last it like a boss. Crystal Maiden is going to do her thing. I see a lot of times DK just actually buy that first initial pair of wards and just plop it down. Because guess what? When you do actually do that, not only is that Broodmother not getting any farm, you're getting free farm as well. So that's actually in the laning stage, where if you actually want to shut down that Gondar, that Broodmother, or whatever that might be, even the carry could just buy the warrior. And don't even think about, oh, I mean, you know, I'm the carry, I shouldn't have to do this. Just actually look at it from the other spectrum. If you buy that Sentry Ward, you won yourself the lane. Because guess what Gondar, Broodmother, and all those other heroes relies on to actually win the lane? You need that invisibility. And if you take away their best skill, even though you have, put down that 200 investment, it's well worth that you have won the lane. Now, I think the question is more towards of you're playing the support, and in the mid-game situation, there's a Gondar happening, there's a Gondar happening, there's a self-assassin walking around. Like, what do you do as a support? You're Crystal Maiden. They kill you in 2 hits, so what do you do? And obviously, you can't actually put Sentry Ward down absolutely everywhere because, well, you don't have that much go, right? So there's a couple of things you can do. First, you want to actually stick with your teammate, and you don't want to only carry Sentry Wards, but you also want to carry Dust. Like, try to have both of them ready. When you're putting down Sentry Wards, only put them down while you're pushing or doing a long-term siege, or you want to put them right next to your Observer Wards. Because Sentry Ward's vision is very, very small, and if you actually put them next to Observer Ward, then suddenly you're not only having a lot of sight, you have a lot of true sight in that vision as well. So it makes your per Sentry Ward give you more bang out of that buck. Does that make sense? You want to double them up and make sure you see a lot of area. But more importantly is you want to have both. You only want to put down the Sentry Ward for slow siege, when you're pushing down towers or whatever else. You want to have those Dust to, which by the way, when you're playing that Crystal Maiden, those Stealth Assassin, those Gondar will always go for you first. They see you as a squishy hero and whatnot. And that's fine. When they're going on you, pop the Dust. Put down the Sentry if you want to do so as well. Just do whatever you can to make sure your team is going to get the kill. You know you're going to die, but if you could take down the Stealth Assassin with your Crystal Maiden alive, always worth it. So that's what mostly a couple things you want to do. First, you want to put down your sentries right next to Observer Wards, give a lot more vision, and of course, they like to move down the river, move up and down the river a lot, and they think they're actually, they're like, oh man, I'm invis, no one see me. Well, you see them, and you can set up ganks on them. Of course, when you slow sieging, put down sentry wards. When you're ganking, try to use sentries. Try to use dust. They're a little bit more effective. So actually, that was a pretty good question. Any other questions that is quite relevant? Is it worth it to counter? Is it worth it to counter ward a creep camp blocking wards in the enemy in the early game? So this is more like on your side lane situation where you're on the safe lane and you try to go pull, and the enemy team has blocked it off, right? And you can't pull. Look at what you actually want to do in your lane, right? If you have a void just basically farming there, I don't see why not. I mean, now you're not going to obviously ask your void, hey, get me a pair of sentry wards so I could counter. So basically you're going to have to kind of sit there and wait for a couple of minutes. You also have to actually look at the clock. They place it right before the game happens. So ask yourself, I'm going to get a pair of sentry wards. Is it worth it to drop that pair of sentry ward when it's like 4 minutes into the game? Because when it's 4 minutes in the game, that ward have already got them used in 4 minutes. So in that case, I would probably say no. But let's say it's another case where you got the first blood against the enemy team and you suddenly have 250 extra gold. Yeah, man, get that sentry ward and counter it. because it's not really the gold that you gain from the camp. It's because the enemy team can't ever farm. You're pulling the creep wave a little bit back. You're getting control of the creep equilibrium. And also, you're getting a lot more level. And as a Vengeful Spirit, Witch Doctor, Crystal Maiden, it's really, really worth it. And a lot of times, that's why you see a lot of pro support, like high-level supports in pro games. They start with Chicken, Observer Wards, and a pair of Sentry Wards. They have it ready just so in case that when they pull camp gets ward off, they could just put down the sentry immediately and go for pulls. Like, they don't let that Observer Ward stop them. And yeah, so if you can actually afford it, it's always worth it to counter and go for that pull. So again, it's a pretty good question. And we're getting some legit question here. Question: can you show us the magic bush war spots? Alright, let's quickly jump into the game. That's going to be our last question. The magic bush war spot is going to be right here. And what it does is it blocks this camp, and it also blocks this camp. And that is the only camp in the game where it blocks two camps at the same time. Which, I guess, it's, I mean, on paper, yeah, I'm blocking two camps at once. But think about it. That means they know exactly with very high frequency, high accuracy, excuse me, where you have put down your ward, and if they ever want to counter it, they easily can counter it. So that's one of the downsides of the magic bush. It's like the first ward that any like support learn how to ward, but to be honest, it's not even that good because if they want to counter it, they will. Okay, I think we had really good questions today. I want to thank everybody that's tuning in. Now, if you have missed any episode of the Dota show, especially yesterday's episode for LD's channel, you can find it on his channel. We're going to have a big link on DotaCommentaries.com that's going to have every single episode, so you can find them there as well. And tomorrow, we're going to be back on LD's channel, and he's going to be talking about Windrunner, or maybe even a solo mid-Windrunner. So if that's a hero that you kind of want to learn, or you want to just flame LD for playing like a scrub in general, go to twitch.tv/LDDota. And yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any comments, feedback, critiques, all that stuff, let me know. Let me know. What we have learned today, we have learned that you want to buy before you die, so you can support like a fly guy. Copyright LuminousInverse 2012. Don't be stealing.